Alright, we're just going to change a oil pan gasket right now. You can see it's starting to leak right there. So, get yourself a catch right here. Let me see. Let me change this so I can actually see. I need to change this so I can actually see what you're saying. So, let me see. In this case, 10mm for the bolts holding it on. And let me see. Alright. We're going to have, what we're going to do, we got some extensions. We got the 14mm to drain the oil. 10mm we're going to use to loosen the bolts. We got some pry bars. And we got some different screwdrivers. And one thing I forgot was the hammer. We're gonna get a nice hefty hammer for that one. So, actually we'll get two different hammers. We'll get this one and this one. Believe it or not, some of these things are stuck on here. Make sure you turn this. First we got to drain the oil. In this case, 14mm. Push in. Let go. Set that to the side where you're not going to lose it. I'm going to go pop the dipstick. The hood's already open. It's already warm. It's going to drain pretty well. And that's going to get us started. And then we're going to get a rag. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start loosening the bolts on the oil pan. In this case it's 10mm. And grab you some rags. So it's flowing. We're kind of cocked sideways this way to give me more room right there. Before you start anything, obviously you want to, actually it might not be obvious for everybody. You want to support the engine with jack stands. Make sure you have plenty of light. Have a little catch pan right there. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to put this on there. I'm going to get my 10mm socket. And I'm just going to start them off. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one here a little bit difficult to get to. 5, 6. So that's good enough for now. Stop that for draining. Let's get this oil out of the way. So this one over here, it's a little bit difficult to get to. What I can use is a... That works. See, that's where the swivel comes into play. Alright, so I'm just going to loosen them all. Loosen, loosen, loosen. Alright, loosen. Loosen. And that's one reason I love this car also. Because it's just so easy to work on. Loosen. And there's one more over here, hopefully I can get. Yeah, there you go. Got it. Alright, just breaking them loose with that. Now I'm going to get my little impact, make everything easier. Alright. And I got one. Can you still see? 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you need to check your repair manual though. Some cars it says to remove your engine, and I'm sorry to say, but if that's one of the criteria for buying a car. If it says to remove your engine to change the oil pan, I wouldn't even buy that car. So this one right here is a nut though. That one's a nut. Most of them are bolts. That one's a nut. This one's a little difficult to get to. That's why we have this little, let's see. There we go, cock it sideways. Now we can get it. That's the point of having this damn thing. See, if it didn't cock sideways, when it's like this, it don't go on there. When you pull it out a little bit, cock sideways, cut it right there. Another one here. Another nut. So that's 2 nuts so far. And like I said, I'm serious. I'm gonna make a criteria for people, especially who don't work on your car. Even if you don't work on your car, you got to realize if somebody else is working on your car, and it takes them 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours to change the oil pan gasket, which will go bad no matter who you are in this world. Oh, you know what? I forgot one right here. Right there, you want to make sure you got them all. So it looks like I got them all. Okay. Yeah, I got them all. And I might as well count them for you, give you an idea what you're looking at. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bolts and 2 nuts. That's what you got. Oops. 12 bolts and 2 nuts. Total of 14 holding that on. It's probably similar in your case too. It's easier to get up in these things with a 1/4 inch, to be honest with you. So the thing is right here, this pan ain't gonna try to come off easily. And one method that I do that's a little bit so let's move your tools out of the way. This is where the screwdrivers come in handy. I want to get the smallest screwdriver I have, and this is one of the reason I use these cheap screwdrivers like this. I'm gonna start with the small hammer. I'm gonna get on the edge right here. I'm gonna hit it. All right. I felt it. Boom, like that. So I got a wide space right here. Boom. If you don't do that, you're going to be there all day. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and just wipe it down. Right here, I'm going to take a wire wheel to that, clean that off. It was just a regular screwdriver. Took in there. Don't hit it straight into it. Try to get in there. Break it. That seal will take you forever to get loose if you don't have a good so I'm gonna drop this right now. Make sure they're all loose. There you go. Might want to cock it sideways a little bit. Cock it like that. All right, you can let this sit here for a couple of minutes and dry, or I mean drip. And so what we have is, they didn't use a gasket on this, so I'm going to take this straight to the wire wheel. And what I'm going to use for right here, actually, so they used gasket material right here. And what I'll do is, I'll take this, so you can see the gasket material it's using. It's just RTV. I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it upside down in the pan,
And then while we're waiting for that to get clear, I'm gonna get a scraper, and I'm gonna scrape the surface. Once I scrape most of the heavy material off, what I'm gonna do is once I scrape most of the heavy material off, what I'm going to do is get a little bit of sandpaper, just like I use with the water pumps and the timing belts and everything else like that. And I'm telling you right now, if your car is easy to change your oil pan gasket like this, it's a car worthy of keeping, because you can tell the engineers actually thought about what they were doing. I'm serious about this. There's cars that are manufactured and the engineers take these things into account, because no matter what car you have, your gasket is going to go bad, no matter what kind of car you have. And if the engineers for that car require you to remove your engine to change that gasket, I'm sorry, I don't want that car, to be honest with you. I'm telling you right now, I'm serious. I'm so serious right now. I don't want that car. If you have to remove your engine to change out the oil pan gasket. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna clean all this junk off. I'm gonna come here with the razor blade, scrape off the big stuff, come here with the 200 grit sandpaper, wipe it down, wipe it with a clean rag. I'm gonna take this thing right here, I'm gonna do the same thing. Actually, I'm gonna take it right to the wire wheel. I'm gonna take it to the wire wheel, I'm gonna clean the surface real well. And I guess I'll show you that. But I'm gonna take that to the wire wheel, clean that off. I'm gonna put the new gasket with a little bit of RTV silicone, just to help seal it. And then we're gonna pop it back up there, start it off, crisscross pattern, tighten it down. So we just got a regular razor blade, all right? And you see the thick stuff like this, we're just trying to take off the thick stuff. Don't gouge it, just take off the thick stuff. There's your dipstick right there. So we're just taking off the thick stuff. Get my camera all dirty. See the thick stuff? Just take this thick stuff off. Alright. And this is the area where I was hitting on right here, and I kind of gouged it a little bit. That's where I'm going to spend some more time. See, I kind of gouged it a little bit right there, so I'm going to spend more time with the sandpaper, so you still see the material in there. So we're just getting the big stuff. I kind of gouged it a little right here. That's no problem. This is a little more difficult to get to. You want to just take off the heavy stuff. Take off all the heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. So let me finish doing this, taking all the heavy stuff off. After I take off the heavy stuff, I'm gonna come and through your hair. I gotta make sure this is nice and smooth. Now, if you'll see though, see it's taking off that extra stuff, and then when we wipe it, it's gonna be nice smooth. So that's where that now right here, you see I kind of gouged it. I'm gonna have to fix that a little bit. I'm gonna come here with the razor and get some of that, so it stops it from protruding. So that's it. I'm gonna take off the heavy material, and I'm come with the sandpaper, and the oil just helps to lubricate it pretty much. So I'm just gonna do that. It's hard to do this with one hand, But if you just do this without removing all the heavy stuff, it takes a lot longer. So that's why we want to remove the heavy stuff. And then when it comes to the pan itself, we're just gonna, when it comes to the pan itself, we're just gonna take that to the wire wheel. And I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna spray this down with some brake cleaner. Alright, so my hands are dirty. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish scraping it a little bit, and then I'm gonna come in here with a clean piece, scrape it down this area right here. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is sorry, this area right here, I gotta take this down a little bit. I'm gonna clean all that out with brake cleaner. It's hard to do this stuff with one hand, guys. And if you have one of these tools, that I have to get that though for sure. It's just a part of what it is. So I'm gonna grind that down a little more right there. It's just part of what it is. That thing, I'm telling you, I'll sit here all day if I didn't do that. Now we're gonna use a little bit of silicone, and the new gasket is gonna seal that right up. So actually, let's do that. I'm gonna take the pan to the wire wheel, clean that off, throw some brake cleaner on that. After I do what I just showed you, take off the heavier parts, I'm gonna use some like 200 grit sandpaper, sand that down a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So what I did is, don't take it to the grinder, take it to the wire wheel. Throw a little bit of this in here. You swish that around. Get off the rest of the muck and oil and all the crap that came off. See how it's kind of just collecting all the junk. Collect all the junk. Collect all the junk that came off from grinding. I didn't use the grinder, I used the, I'm just going to dump this in the, in a container. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, get a clean rag, wipe everything out. So, yeah, I took this to the wire wheel, not the grinder. Don't use the grinder. And that material's nice and clean. Alright, I'll get it nice and clean. Get that right out of the way. These gloves are pretty dirty. Get a fresh towel. Alright. Make sure our gasket fits. It's gonna go just like that. And I think I have some, yeah, I have some leftover silicone that I use, which is, I don't use that much. So, let me see, these ones are already used. That one, for that one. I'll save these ones. If I need it, I need it. So small amount. And it's not even really necessary to use silicone. I just do to hold it in place. You don't want to overdo it. And when you knock it off, go off that way. I mean, it comes with it, so I mean, can't be too bad to use it. And make sure your hands are nice and clean. The surface area you're using is nice and clean. I'm just going to use the rest of this. That's it. That's all for that. And my hands got a little greasy from touching the outside of the pan. This is trash. We'll throw this in the trash. I'll get a clean rag. Make sure my hands are clean. Make sure you put it on the right way, which is almost looks like it, but it's not. There you go. All right. Just kind of push it down a little bit. Make sure your hands are nice and clean. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit here for 5 minutes. I'm going to go underneath the car. I'm going to clean it with some with the sandpaper, and then I'm going to wipe it with this this stuff or some brake cleaner. And by the time I'm done with this will be able to, it won't be hard yet. It takes at least an hour to harden. So it'll only take me 5 minutes to get under there. Do that. I can guarantee we're not going to have any leaks. It's good to have a little bit of silicone on there. Like I said though, because when you're compressing it, when you're pushing it together, if you just have the gasket, you get an extra layer of the RTV to compress it together. So it gives you like a little bit of more of a basically space in order to press it. And you can always go there a day or two later and double check your torque. We're going to use a 1/4 inch in order to torque it down. I'm going to leave this here for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go under the car, clean it with the rest of that Pro Clean and maybe some brake cleaner to get off any impurities I left in there from the grinding, or I mean from the sandpaper. And then in about 5-10 minutes I'm gonna drop that in there. I'm gonna start bolt here, 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 and then I'm gonna start all the rest of them, and then we'll just use the 1/4 inch to tighten it down. So we got a pan. I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch just to check ourselves. 1/4 inch with the 10mm. And let's see. Well, we know this goes right there, so this is held into place. Let's get our nuts and bolts close to us. Cock it sideways. Get in here, turn it. That's one reason we want to do like we did. So we'll just get let's see, where is, let's get one of these. That's one reason to use a silicone. You don't want to cross thread any of them. Start one off. Start one off on the other side. Make sure it's going in there easily without using any power tools. No power tools for this. So this first one we put in, I'm not sure if it went in there straight, so I'll take that one back out. For now, I'll take this swivel off. This swivel's kind of trying to make them go in there, kind of crooked. See, there we go. So we're just gonna start them off. We'll use the swivel later on. We'll use the swivel when we need to use the swivel. Start them off all by hand. Make sure they're all going in there by hand. Don't use no power tools to put this on. All by hand, starting them off nice and easy. That's aluminum you're going into. The last thing you want to do is ruin the aluminum. So it's just starting by hand. Every one of them. So this is, like I showed you though, it's good reason to put the silicone. It holds it in place when you're, so it lines up properly. Sometimes you gotta wiggle a little bit. These ones over here, it's easier to get in there with the 1/4 inch. That one. This last one we'll do with the we put the nuts. You can see where the nuts go because of the studs. There's a stud right here. We're gonna have to put back on the U-joint because it's not giving us enough room. So we're gonna need that flex right there. Because I gotta get up right here. Once again, start it off by hand. Make sure it goes on there nice and easy by hand. And we'll get the last one that goes in the corner that's hard to get to. So we're using this combination. It's hard to get in here because it goes along here. So it kind of goes at an angle. And yes, I know, guys, this is some basic stuff here, but to be honest, that's what pays the bills when it comes to YouTube. So it started off by hand. We'll start it all. Come to this end over here. Crisscross. We're going to crisscross, get all the ones we can get. And then we'll do a complete circle. Because you want to make sure you're not going to miss any of them. That's good, I already hit that one. Miss this one. Now, if you got a torque wrench right now, it'd be a good time to use a torque wrench if you don't know. It's also a good reason to use the silicone too, because you can see the silicone start shooting out from the side. So this one's nice and loose, so we missed that one. Remember, this is aluminum. We're just going to go on a complete circle now. No power tools. And this filter, we're going to leave this filter in case we left any particles in there. Can't be more than 10 foot-pounds, I'd say. Maybe 8. Definitely use a 1/4 inch with this. 1/4 inch with a swivel. This one's loose right here. I'm going to tighten this one down. I need to put some more tape on this one. On my U-joint. It's going wibble wobble. Now the valve cover gaskets always go first. These always go second. So we'll just make a complete rotation. Pretty sure I got them all. Use a torque wrench if you're not used to doing things like this. Like I said, I know this is basic, guys. That's where all my money comes from. The basic. And it's hard nowadays because people like Eric the Car Guy, he's covered every single subject out there. So it's hard for me to come up with, you know, subjects. But, and that's one reason I didn't really, it's one reason I don't make too many videos, man, because all the subjects have been covered, basically. So, let me make sure and, tighten this up. 14 millimeter. Alright, make sure this is tight. And then nice and tight. There we go. Wipe it down. We want to wipe it. Make sure there's no oil drips or nothing like that, because we're going to look for oil drips. So we want to make sure we're not going to see any oil drips. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to fill the engine oil. Don't forget to do that. Fill the engine oil. This filter right here, I'm going to leave it. And in about a day or two, I'm going to change the oil filter, which is right here. You can't really see it. In about a day or two, I'm going to change this oil filter, because anything that got in here while we were doing that, even though we cleaned it and washed it and we did our best, you know, dirt and sand or anything else could have gotten here. So that's why we're not changing the filter right now. We're going to wait, collect all that nasty stuff in there, start it up, put it in a nice clean area. Right now, the area that we're working in down below right here is a little bit oily and dirty, so we'll move it to a nice clean spot, let it run for about 10 minutes, let it warm up, make sure the oil's filled up all the way, and look for any leaks. And there you go. Hopefully you don't have a car that you got to remove the engine to do this, because if you do, I'm thinking you're probably not a mechanic, because you would have known that by now. And I'm telling you, that's one reason I love these cars. It's just everything's a 10-15 minute job, everything on these cars right here. And if I can't work on it, that means I got to pay somebody to work on it, and that means I got to pay money. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment, rate, and subscribe.